This class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and we will learn today Parshas Azino. Hello. We'll start on page 380. Parshas Azino is on page 380. But we will actually start from the end of Parshas Azino. Parshas Azino is poetry. It's like a song that God is warning the Jewish people there is good and there is a little sharp border. 52 verses. But after Moses finished to say the whole Parshas Azino, and the Rashis are long and complicated, and we will look on page 420, the end of the Parsha. Literally the few lines, end of the Parshas Azino. God tells Moses to go up on Mount Nebo, right? Nebo. You know what Nebo stands for? Nun Bo, the 50th level. According to Kabbalah, there is 49 levels, right? The 50th level is the level. You know when you reach the 50th level? When you're dead. You don't want to reach the 50th level too early. He told them, Nun Bo, he reached the ultimate level, Moses. He told them, go up to Mount Nebo and die there. It's interesting to note, and that's what he did, the Torah. Then let's read on 420, we'll read a little bit the inside, then we'll read what Rashi says. You want to? We'll start from it. 424, number 48.
Hashem spoke to Moshe at the very height of that day, saying, "Go up to this Mount Havarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that faces Jericho, and see the land of Canaan that I am giving to Bnei Israel as inheritance, and die on the mountain upon which you are going up, and be gathered unto your people, just as your brother Aaron died in Hor HaHor, and was gathered unto his people."
Just like Aaron died, so by a kiss of God. It was a sweet that laid down, gathered together, and he was gone. It says that's the same thing will happen to you. And right away, whenever Hashem told to Moses and Aaron that they are going to die, not enter the land of Israel, always he mentioned why they're not entering the land of Israel. He always attached the reason. We shouldn't claim that they didn't enter the land of Israel because of a different reason. He always wrote the reason. What's the reason? Because, want to continue? Page 423 in top of the page.
Because you were unfaithful to me, amid Bnei Israel, at the waters of argument at Kodesh, in the Tzin wilderness, because of the fact that you did not sanctify me amid Bnei Israel.
What's the story? The story is because they didn't. When was it? When it was the rock of the. They're supposed to speak to the rock. They eat the rock, and again the rock, and again the rock. It's all about the rock. And then God tells them on page 424.
For from afar will you see the land, but you will not come there to the land that I'm giving to the Bnei Israel.
Okay, Hashem tells them you'll see the land from far, but you will not enter. Moses not only didn't enter alive the land, he didn't even enter the land dead. Even his bones did not make it to the land of Israel. Moses died and was buried in the desert, ultimately because his people died in the desert. In a true Rebbe stays with his people, therefore he stayed with his people. Now we'll turn back to page 420. That's the story, and we'll see the first Rashi, the Rashi of 48. Hashem spoke to Moses.
Before we get there, is that why the Rebbe is buried here, not in Israel?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, good. The Rebbe once spoke about it many years. Many years before he died, and he explained why all the Chabad Rebbes are not buried in Israel. And he said because if they were the leaders of their people in exile, and to run away from their people is like abandoning them. Therefore, they were buried not even in one city. They were buried wherever they were. Different places in Russia, different places, wherever they are. If these people are good for me when they are alive, they are. There are anchor. A tzaddik when he's buried is an anchor for his people, gives them strength. That's why Joseph didn't want to leave. Joseph told them, when you will leave Egypt, I'll go with you. When you will be redeemed, I'll be redeemed together with you. The same thing is with Moses. The Medrash says, God told them, when your people will be redeemed from exile, from the desert, they will be redeemed. You will be redeemed to them. That's what the Medrash says. That's what. It's not the Rebbe's commentary. It's a Medrash that says it. Let's see what Rashi says on 48. You want to read Reb Chazan? Page 420. In the bottom, the Rashi.
The Rashi, okay. So where do we start?
Hashem
48.
spoke, yeah.
Yeah. Hashem spoke to Moshe at the very height of that day. In 3 places it said, at the very height of that day, it is said concerning Noach, at the very height of that day, Noach entered, etc.
Okay, let's stop right here for a second. The Torah is using, Hashem said to Moses, Be'etzem hayom hazeh, in this very day. It's a very strange expression. He told them to go up. He told them on the day. What Be'etzem means, this very day. That Rashi points out that there are 3 places in the Bible that God is using the expression Be'etzem hayom hazeh. We'll tell you in advance that there is more places, but we'll go about that later. Number 1, by Noah. By Noah, God says, Be'etzem hayom hazeh, and this very day, God told Noah to enter this. Let's take out this Chumash. That's why I brought it out too. It's when God told Noah about the ark. It's going to be a flood, and you will build the ark. Then it's written this expression.
I don't know yet. He hasn't said it. No, it's like
12.
On page 29, 13.
29,
that very
13.
day,
Yes.
Noah boarded the ark along with his sons.
Yes, at the bottom of the page, it says, on that very day Noah boarded the ark. בעצם היום הזה בו נוח and Shem and Ham and Yofes entered the ark. What's this expression? And this very day. Rashi says in our parsha something very interesting. When the light, what בעצם היום הזה means in the very day, middle of the day. When is the strongest, when is the day the most brightest moment? Noon. Midday. That's the brightest moment. Continue. When the light of the day was in full view.
Continue here.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Okay. When the light of the day was in full view, since his contemporaries said, by so and so, if we sense him leaving, we won't permit him to enter the ark. And furthermore, we will get sledgehammers and axes and smash the ark.
The Holy One.
The Holy One, blessed is he, said, I will bring him in at midday. Let anyone powerful enough to obstruct come and do so. Concerning Egypt, it is
Okay.
Okay.
God said, the people of Noah, of Noah's generation, were wicked people. That's why the flood came around. They said, if Noah will enter the ark, we will not allow him. If he dies with us. No chokhmas here. More than that, by not allowing Noah to enter in the ark, it's called blackmailing God. You blackmail God. You don't allow God to come. God doesn't want what they do. Now what they say about the ISIS, that they're mixing among regular people. You don't want to bomb the regular people. You cannot kill them. God will not want to kill Noah. Then he will not bring a flood. We will not allow him to enter the ark. God said, okay, we'll see. I'll tell Noah to enter the ark in the middle of the day, and I want to see who can stop him. And what God did is actually, as Rashi says in Parshat Noach, then God gathered around the ark wild animals who protected the ark in Noah, and nobody dared to get even close. That's the first time when it's written Be'etzem hayom hazeh. Then there is a second time Be'etzem hayom hazeh. But it's written up in the Exodus. When the Jews left Egypt, in Parshas Bo, on page 315, you know, when God smited the firstborn? When was it? When it happened? Midnight. No. And then Pharaoh rushed and told him, get out, get out, get out. When is actually the time they left Egypt?
Midday. Yeah.
How we know that? On page 315, number 41, number 40 and 41. It's written like this. In 41, at the end of 430 years, all of God's armies left Egypt in the broad daylight. Be'etzem hayom hazeh. How we know to translate in broad daylight? Because Rashi, now Parshas, says that Be'etzem hayom hazeh means in the middle of the day. Then Rashi, in our Parsha, I don't want to confuse you too much, we're going back to this book. On page 421, we'll continue with the Rashi. Concerning Egypt, it is said,
Concerning Egypt, it is said, at the very height of that day, Adoshem delivered. Since the Egyptians said, by so and so, if we sense them leaving, we won't permit them to go. And furthermore, we will get swords and other weapons and kill them. The Holy One blessed is, he said, I will deliver them at midday. Let anyone powerful enough to obstruct come and do so.
okay, the Egyptians said, we will never allow the Jews to leave Egypt. God says, my kids, the princes of God, do not run away in the middle of the night like thieves, like prisoners, running away from their home in the middle of the day. The whole Jewish, the armies of Hashem, the whole nation, went out like kings. I want to see who is going to stop them. These two stories make sense. They were wicked people in Noah. They were wicked people. The Egyptians were wicked. They didn't allow the Jews to leave Egypt. And here comes Rashi to our story. You want to continue to read? Kosov. Here too, concerning Moshe's death.
Here too, concerning Moshe's death, it is said, at the very height of this day, since the Israelites said, by so-and-so, if we sense him leaving, we won't let him go. The man who took us out of Egypt split the sea for us, brought down the manna for us, swept the quail over to us, brought up the wellspring for us, and gave us the Torah. We won't let go of him. The Holy One, blessed be he, said, I will gather him up at midday.
Okay,
etc.
the Jewish people had a love affair with Moses suddenly. Suddenly. They said, Moses is leaving? We will not allow him to go. We will hold him with us. God said, I will bring him up in the middle of the day. I want to see who can stop him. Then the question is, first of all, the Jewish people hear that Hashem tells them to go. They're going to argue with them. Maybe you're talking about the Goyim, the enemies, the wicked people of Noah's generation, the Egyptians who were wicked, they were enslaved the Jewish people. But the Jews arguing with God about Moses? That first of all, yes. When it comes to the well-being of another Jew, you argue with God. Who taught us this? Moses. Moses was ready, was fighting God. God wanted to destroy the Jewish people, the golden calf, and Moses told them no. But the Jews said, a good teacher. They said no. Then it shows how much, now, the strange thing about the Jewish people, talking about a schizophrenic nation. This is the Jews. You know, remember a story? The Jews complained, one story, when they didn't. In Parshas Beshalach, the Jewish people didn't have water, right? on page 341. Chapter 17. 341, chapter 17. You want to read it?
Chapter 17, is that what you said?
No, 341,
Okay, start at the beginning, huh?
number 1. Yes.
The entire Israelite community moved on from the Sin Desert, traveling according to God's instructions, until they camped in Rephidim. There was no water for the people to drink. The people began to quarrel with Moses. "Give us water to drink," they exclaimed. "Why are you quarreling with me?" asked Moses. "Are you trying to test God?" The people began to suffer thirst because of the lack of water, and they began demonstrating against Moses. "Why did you bring us out of Egypt?" demanded the leader. "Do you want to make me or my children, my livestock, die of thirst?" Moses cried out to God. "What shall I do for these people?" he said. "Before long they will stone me."
Aha! Before long they will stone me. The same people who were about to stone him. At least Moses felt that like this. Actually, God told Moses, read in one more line.
God said to Moses, "March in front of the people along with the elders of Israel. Take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile and go. I will stand before you there on the rock, said Horeb. You must strike the rock and water will come out of it for the people to drink." Moses did this in the presence of the elders of Israel.
Rashi says, God told them, don't speak about my kids like this. Walk in front of the people. Nobody's going to stone you. Why are you thinking like this? But at least Moses, in his perception, the Jewish people were ready to stone him. Suddenly, when they hear that Moses dies, they will not let God to take him away from them. What does this mean? Deep down, the Jewish people loved Moses. There's a story, I mentioned it a few times, about a rabbi, that a woman came and cursed him out with the worst curses in the world. The rabbi says nothing. His wife tells him, why you let him do it? The rabbi says, she doesn't mean it. She doesn't. So what do you mean she doesn't mean it? So you want me to prove she doesn't mean it? He calls her in and says, lady, what do you wish? I would wish you, give you a bracha that your child should be a rabbi like me. She says, oh, Rabbi, I wish. I told you she doesn't mean it. Moses, the Jewish people, they gave Moses every day was another complaint from Korach. Oh, you name it. Comes Moses dead. They love him. At least he heard by the last day, you know that they really love him. It was all for the show. I mean, we'll not give you a free ride here, but we love you. It's a way to express our love. We are driving you crazy a little bit, but we really love you. That's the amazing thing about this story in this week's Parsha. God, the Jewish people didn't want that Moses should go away from them. That's why there is a story. We learn that when God told Moses, go take the war, take revenge in the Midianites, and then you'll die. The Jewish people didn't want to go to war. Moses had to force them to go to war. Then these are the three places that it's written בעצם היום הזה. But there are more places it's written בעצם היום הזה. Where is more places written? And the very day this and this took place.
Pesach. No?
That's the Pesach is the story.
Okay.
More.
The binding?
The binding, not the binding, close.
What could be close to that?
Close, very close. I think we read it on Rosh Hashanah. I think so. Let's see. Page 77. God told Abraham to circumcise his son, to circumcise himself, forget about his son. How old was Abraham at that time?
99.
99. I mean, a big boy, right? The Midrash says he went to his three friends, Eshkol, Oner, and Mamre. He had three leaders, nobles. Asked them what they think about it. Eshkol told them, one of them told them, are you crazy? If you circumcise, you'll be weak, your enemy is coming and attack you. Another guy told them, people, whatever. Finally, Mamre told them, Hashem told you to do it. But the world was laughing at him. The world told them, we will not let you to do it. Then the Torah says on page 77, number 24. You want to read?
Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, on the flesh of his foreskin. His son Ishmael was 13 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised. On the very day that Abraham...
On that very day, בעצם היום הזה נימול אברהם. On that very day. If you look on the note, bottom note, on that very day, others have in the broad daylight. Some say that took place on Yom Kippur. The circumcision of Abraham took place on Yom Kippur. That's why Yom Kippur is an important day. It's a day of Mesiras Nefesh, of self-sacrifice.
Circumcision is an aspect of atonement.
If you're ready to do it in 99 years old, that's an atonement. Then here is another time, and Rashi actually, and this here says that why it's this very day, and this very day because the world was opposing it, and he did it in the middle of the day, and nobody stopped him. Because whenever it's written the expression בעצם היום הזה, it means, and one of the meanings of it is this day is important and you cannot change it. Where else is written בעצם היום הזה?
Jacob met Rachel.
בעצם היום הזה? Show me.
We've got it.
Still the middle of the day.
No, it's not. It's still the middle of the day. It's not.
No.
It's not that.
We were almost very
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah, right.
It's in English the same, but not in Hebrew. Where else is written בעצם היום הזה?
Well, there's two aspects you said. You said one, but the other aspect is that it has to be
And that day.
It has to be people that want to oppose it.
No, one aspect is people want to oppose it, like the 3 times that we saw here. בעצם היום הזה is also why we learn from it that the bris must be done that day, the 8th day. It's written in a few places. It has to be the bris is not done at night, and it should be done when it's the 8th day. It's even on Yom Kippur, even on Shabbat, even on Yom Kippur. No matter when you make the bris, if it's the 8th day, because it's בעצם היום הזה. It has to be on this very day. That's the literal meaning of this word. There is another place. It's written בעצם היום הזה. I think it's in Achim Wise. Here is written about Yom Kippur. Yeah. For example, page 591, he speaks about Yom Kippur. Now here is written, I think it's in Yom Kippur. I mean, it's for sure in Yom Kippur, but one second, there is another time it's written Yom Kippur. Yeah. If you open on page 625, I'm sorry. Where it's written the laws of Yom Kippur and Parshas Emor, written about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We are before Rosh Hashanah. It'd be a nice thing to read that, just to get in the mood of Rosh Hashanah. We'll read about Rosh Hashanah. God spoke to Moses. Mr. Martel, you want to read?
God spoke to Moses, telling him to speak to the Israelites and say, "The first day of the 7th month shall be a day of rest. It is a sacred holiday for remembrance and sounding of the ram's horn. Do not do any service work on that day. Bring a fire offering to God." God spoke.
Then this is, you should be on, and you should have A remembrance of sounding.
But
By
then
the way,
on
it's
that
not
day,
really written, you should blow the shofar. It's written a remembrance of sounding. We learned that, that's the whole thing. We learned that from Yovel. That's like, go ahead, what do you want to say?
but it's in parentheses, so is that a Rashi
What?
on that day?
Well, that we didn't get to the to the point. Continue.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's there.
Continue. God spoke to Moshe saying,
God spoke to Moshe saying, "The 10th of this 7th month shall be the day of atonement for you. It is a sacred holiday when you must fast and bring a fire offering to God. Do not do any work on this day. It is a day of atonement. When you
but first of all, it's written you must fast. In the Hebrew, it's written ve'initem et nafshotechem. Initem et nafshotechem doesn't mean fasting. It means what inui means. Inui means afflicting yourself. The language in the Torah is that you have to afflict yourself. The rabbis told us how you afflict yourself by fasting. But it's not written the word infliction. Okay.
Didn't Isaiah say it before the rabbis? That,
Isaiah
he
said
talks
what?
in the Haftorah passage
Allah Tzom.
in Isaiah 58, and this is the fast that I want, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but the word, he says that affliction means fast.
He doesn't say affliction means fast, but he's talking about fasting.
He's talking about Yom Kippur?
It's our reading for Yom Kippur.
It's a reading from Kippur. What is he talking about Yom Kippur? Or is what I think what Isaiah says, I don't remember exactly, what I think what he says is that the first day is a day of love, a day of pleasing to God, Yom Ratzon. Right? We have the Haftorah of Yom Kippur. Could be we can find it here. Could be, if it would be a miracle, we might even find it here. And let's see. Yeah. He speaks about what's a fast day. On page 1331, he actually says that he actually says that a day of fasting is a day of affliction. This is true. The opposite, what he says that in the bottom, have I chosen such a fast, a day for man to afflict his soul? You see?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Continue. To bow down, is that like a borlush? What is this? To sit in sackcloth and ashes? Will you call this a fast, an acceptable day of God? Then here he says that a fasting day is a day of affliction. This is true, very true. Then for me, actually, the rabbis took it. That the affliction is this. Very good, thank you. And then he says, continue. It is not this fast. Here he speaks in a negative way, but yeah, what he says, that this is a fast day. Later he also says it.
Is that, how is he getting that? I mean, is that coming from oral law from Sinai? Is that coming from his interpretation or somebody else's interpretation?
No, I think it's coming from practicing it. Everybody was doing it. What they were doing in Yom Kippur, they were fasting. Since Mount Sinai. But this is not, we still didn't get to the point. In page 2, in number 625, number 28, what is he saying? Number 28, you want to continue?
Do not do any work on this day.
Yeah.
It is a day of atonement, when you will gain atonement before Hashem your Lord. If anyone does not fast on this day, he shall be cut off spiritually from his people. Similarly, if one does any work on this day, I will destroy him.
Okay, that here, number 29, it says, V'chol melocho la ta'asu be'etzem hayom hazeh, on this very day. Then he says that's in number 28. Then in number 29 he says again, anybody who will not fast on this very day will be cut off. Twice be'etzem hayom hazeh. It means this very day means Yom Kippur has to be whenever the day is. Even usually when a fast comes on Shabbat, we push off the fast, not Shabbat. Push off the fast. When Tisha B'Av happens to be on Shabbat, we fast on Sunday. Which other fast days could be on Shabbat? 17th of Tammuz can happen to be on Shabbat, we'll fast on Sunday, right? Okay, 17, yeah. If Tisha B'Av is on Shabbat, then the 17th of Tammuz. Tzom Gedalia, will be, for example, this year.
Sunday.
You're right, good point. Tzom Gedalia should be on Shabbat. We are fasting on Sunday. Perfect. Yom Kippur, Shabbat, yeah. This year it's a Shabbat. We're fasting because it's Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. But there is one more fast that if it would happen to be on Shabbat, you would have to fast on. The 10th of Tevet. Why the 10th of Tevet? We are fasting on Shabbat. It never happened on Shabbat, but it happens many times.
It's easy to say. Because it can't happen.
Right. But it happens on Friday.
Yes, and we
You
fast.
see, usually, for example, when this year Purim, I think, is going to be again on Sunday, or it was last year, it was on Sunday. Then, a day before Purim, you're supposed to fast. If it's on Shabbat, you should fast. We push it up before. It cannot be Friday. Because Friday is also you're not allowed to fast. Friday afternoon, you're not allowed to afflict yourself. It's already Erev Shabbat. You're not allowed to enter Shabbat in a fast. Then we are fasting on Thursday for Sunday. We're going earlier 3 days. The fast of Asara B'Teves, of the 10th of Tevet, is many times happens on Friday. I think last year, a few years, not long ago. Often happens to be on Friday, and we fast on Friday, and we actually go to shul hungry, and we say Kabbalat Shabbat like good boys, and then we go to it. Why is this fast different than any other fast? Because it's written the expression in the prophet Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. That's why. It's written the way the prophet writes it. The prophet Ezekiel, I think. Yeah. He says, Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh Samach Melech Bavel El Yerushalayim. On this very day, the Babylonian king began the siege over Jerusalem. Ezekiel, if I'm not mistaken, Ezekiel was at that time in Babylon already, because the elite of Jerusalem was exiled before the destruction of the first temple. And God told Ezekiel, was a way to show the Jewish people that he's a true prophet. He told them, write down, Tov Lecha, Kach Lecha, think something, a paper or pen, whatever it was, and on Megillah, and write yourself, on this very day, the king of Babylon began the siege over Jerusalem. And weeks later, when the first guys came from Israel to report the story, they already knew the news in Jerusalem, in Babylon. It was not on Facebook. It was Hashem told Ezekiel that was going, but because they used the expression Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh, therefore they used it's a fast that stops that pushes away Shabbat. Because things that have to be in this very day have to be done on this day. There is more Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh, I remember. In today's world, we can do it easy. Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh.
Do you have a Hebrew concordance on there?
Aikach of Gimel. I don't remember there is more. This is Chav Gimel? Yeah, I think this is it, no? The chapter 23, it should be here.
In Toldos.
For example, on page 4, what's written about Yitzhak?
On that very day. Why did I strike out?
Vayom Hahu.
We're still impressed.
Which number?
On that very day.
Number 32. Vayom Hahu, no. You must learn Hebrew. It's written on the same, where we are, on page 423. 423. It's, 623. I'm old and forgot. 623. Number 14.
Right there.
Yeah, we're right there. That's what I wanted to say. Number 14. You want to read it? Until the day Go ahead.
Until the day that you bring the sacrifice to your God, you may not eat bread,
Then
roasted
the
grain.
language in the action in the Torah is Ad etzem hayom hazeh, until this very day, you should not eat. And even before that, Chof Aleph, Chof Gimel, Chof Aleph. You look in the bottom of the page. This same page, bottom of the page. This very day, see on this page.
Yeah, shall be celebrated as a sacred holiday when no service
Should be done.
work may
That
done.
this very day, ukerosem be'etzem hayom hazeh Mikra Kodesh. You call this day a Mikra Kodesh, a holy day. You know what it's talking about? It's talking about Shavuos. Shavuos is 50 days from Pesach. We count 50 days, and on this very day is Shavuos. Doesn't make a difference what the date of the calendar is. Doesn't make a difference which day of the week it is. You count 50 days from Pesach at Shavuos. Shavuos is completely dependent on Pesach, not on the calendar, so to speak.
And how do you count?
You count by the way you count. Then we see this expression, בעצם היום הזה, is written quite a few places. Now, we'll go back to Azino, go back to our Parsha, talk a little bit about the last day of Moses' life. He accomplished a lot in his last day. Moses, the last day of Moses was on Shabbat, and he appointed Joshua to be the leader, the next leader. Why he appointed Joshua? But Rashi says that he shouldn't say later, hey, where was Joshua when Moses was around? He didn't open his mouth. Therefore, he appointed them in front of him to make sure, to show that he gives them the power to speak.
I mean, it's Hashem that tells Moshe, right?
Hashem tells Moshe what?
To maybe not to elect Joshua.
Oh, sure, Hashem told Moses. Yes, a few times Hashem told Moses. Then Hashem told, he appointed Joshua, and Joshua started to speak, say Dvar Torah in front of Moses. And Moses realized that Hashem spoke to Joshua something. And he asked Moses, Moses asked Joshua, what Hashem told you? And Yeshua told them, according to the Medrash, when Hashem talked to you, you told me. You didn't tell me, right? Now what do you want? If Hashem wanted you to know, He would tell you. Like we all tell each other. If Hashem if this person would want you to know about what He told me, He would tell you straight, right? Then go ask Him. That Moses said, I'd rather die 1,000 times. He'd rather die 1,000 times than be jealous once. That's was a tuning point, because Moses didn't want to die. Moses wanted to enter the land of Israel. Moses wanted to. Why was Moses had such a strong desire to enter the land of Israel? He wanted to lay on the beach in Eilat. What was Moses wanting?
He wanted to complete the mitzvahs.
That first of all, there is many mitzvahs that you can only do in the land of Israel. Like Shemitah. The sabbatical is coming up in a day. Tomorrow night is Shemitah. In Israel, if you have a garden, any outside the grass, anything, you're not allowed to work your garden, right? You're not allowed to do anything. Because the Shemitah, the 7th year, you're not allowed to work the land. This is a mitzvah you can only do in Israel. You cannot do in the diaspora. And there is many more mitzvahs, the whole mitzvahs of tithing and the mitzvahs. There is many mitzvahs who are dependent on the land of Israel. Moses wanted to enter the land of the land of Israel, that he should be able to fulfill the mitzvahs that you cannot fulfill in the diaspora. Hashem told them he cannot go in, and he offered, according to the Medrash, 515 prayers. He begged and he begged again, and he hoped maybe after the war of Sichon and Og, that God let them conquer the other side of the Jordan. He thought maybe God forgive him, took off the decree. but God didn't forgive him. And here, on the last day, finally God told him a few times, you'll appoint Joshua, he should be instead of you. And on the last day, Moses wrote, he wrote 13 Torahs. Not in one day. Over the 40 years, whenever Hashem told them a parsha, he wrote it down. Really, 3.5 books on the 5 books of Moses were said and written by Moses right a year and a half after they left Egypt. The middle of the book of Numbers, the parsha of Korach is like the cutting off point where it was, for 39 years there was no news in the desert. It was boring. Life was very boring in the desert. No news. It was after the story of the spies took place, and God told them, okay, you're staying here for 39 years.
Big jump.
That's it. Huh?
And then a big jump. That's it.
And then, exactly, for 39 years, it's written, God did not even speak to Moses the way he spoke to him before, in the beginning and then. He communicated, but it wasn't the face-to-face conversation that it was in the beginning and in the end, especially the beginning. Because God was upset with the Jewish people. Moses is the representative of the Jews. If I have nothing to tell to the Jews, he has nothing to tell to Moses. And then Moses had enough time to write down 13 Torahs of 3.5 books, almost 4 books. And then, in the last 5 weeks, he wrote down the book of Deuteronomy. It's also fast. But in the last day, he completed all 13 Torahs, and the last day he finished the all 13 Torahs. And that was more. And why he gave 13 Torahs? What do you think? He wanted to every tribe should have a Torah. Why to give every tribe a Torah? He was afraid that he will give only to the tribe of the Levites a Torah, or to any specific tribe. They will say, "Oh, the Torah belongs to us. It's our Torah. We got it." That God gave a Torah to every tribe, and He told basically to every Jew, "The Torah belongs to you. You can become the owner of the Torah." And that's what we're going to read in the Parsha in Parshas Zot HaBracha. Turn to page 428. Very important line. Then that's a line that we say we teach a little child. When you teach a little child to pray, we teach him the first line. It's written in Jewish law. We teach him one of the first lines that we teach him is in top of page 428.
The Torah which Moshe commanded us is the heritage of the congregation of Yaakov.
Torah tziva lanu Moshe, the Torah that Moses commanded that, is an inheritance to every Jew. Everyone that belongs to the Torah. You see, to be a Kohen, your father has to be a Kohen. To be a Levi, even if you have here a few Levites, your father has to be a Levi. To be a king, you have to come from the house of David. To be a rabbi, so much competition. Everybody can be a rabbi. Yad Chacham, can shisen. Everybody can do it. And the Talmud says, there's an expression, a mamzer tamid chochem is greater than a high priest who's ignorant. So ultimately it's about the Torah. Because the Torah brings us the light, tells us the way, and in this God says, go ahead. Can be greater than everybody, can be a kingdom bigger than all the kings. Because the real true kingdom is who is a true melech? The rabbis. Because they think about it, the rabbis have powers not by they don't have police, they don't have armies, and they still have people listen to them because of the power, but because they represent the Torah. And that's what the Jewish people are. It's all about. Then Moses gave 13 Torahs to every one of them, every one of the Jewish people, and he told everyone, you can do it, you can learn the Torah. It all happened on the last day, and then in the end of the Torah, after he blessed the whole Jewish people, page 455. Number 5.
Moshe, Hashem's servant, died there in the land of Moab by the mouth.
of Hashem. Moses died. Moses died. Look the film. Read Rashi, number 5.
Is
Moshe
it possible that Moshe died? Yet he wrote Moshe died there. Rather, until this point, Moshe wrote.
The question that Rashi is asking, who wrote it? Who wrote Moses died?
Moses.
Okay, continue, yeah.
Uh,
No, rather, until this point, Moshe wrote.
Beyond this point,
Yoshua wrote. That's one opinion. Rabbi Meir said,
it is possible that the book of the Torah was incomplete when he said, take this book of the Torah, rather the holy and blessed he dictated, Moshe wrote with teardrops.
that God told Moses, the way the Talmud puts it like this, every word in the Torah was dictated by God. God told him, write Bereshis. He said in his mouth Bereshis, and he wrote down Bereshis. God told them bara, and so on. Came to these lines. God dictated them. Moses didn't say it. He just wrote it down with tears in his eyes. But he wrote it. Moses had to finish the 5 books of Moses. That's the most accepted opinion. That Moses finished it. He wrote on his own debt. And then comes number 6. Go ahead.
He buried him in the valley in the land of
He buried them. Who is he?
Hashem.
Look what Rashi says. He buried them, the Holy One blessed be in his glory. Now, there's an amazing medrash. A medrash says the Torah begins with Gmilut Chasadim. You know what Gmilut Chasadim means? Acts of kindness. And ends with acts of kindness. The Torah starts with kindness. What's the first story in the Bible? Kindness that God did.
Created the world, the universe.
Yeah, but we're talking about a more personal kindness.
Clothes for Adam and Eve.
Close for Adam and Eve. And he completes it kindness. He buried Moses. And the whole Torah is about Milus Chasodim. It's about being kind. The beginning and the end of the Torah is about 2 stories of kindness. That as God himself did to teach us how to behave. See somebody is naked? Dress him. The Rebbe pointed out that when who was naked? Adam and Eve, right? Mm-hmm. Why they were naked? Why they recognized they were naked? Why they know that's something to be embarrassed?
Because they ate the das.
They became chochems. Mm-hmm. They sinned. Mm-hmm. And you can say, hey, this guy sinned, let him go. Who needs him? Let him deal with his own consequences. No. Men who sinned, help him, support him. God himself dressed somebody who sinned. And here it's Moses. Even Moses, the chosen human being, also needs help. He needs Hashem to dress him, to bury him. Then we learn from it how important is it act of kindness. Turn to page 456. Where was he buried? Facing base Peor. Remember anything about Peor?
That's where there was the idol.
Baal, the idol. The Jewish people worshipped idols. Then why should Moses be buried in front of Beit Peor? Look, the Rashi says, facing base Peor.
His grave had been readied there since the 6 days of creation to atone for the incident at Peor.
Moses was buried in front of Beit Peor. His death, his burial is to atone for the Jewish people. The whole essence of Moses is atonement, is to save the Jewish people. Even his burial. Continue in the text.
Facing
And no
man knows his burial place till this very day.
Why we don't know where Moses is buried? You know why? It was once the Rebbe's father was at the funeral. Many rabbis were there. Everybody wanted to give us a eulogy, and it was going on and on and on and on. Finally, one of them, he saw that these things had never happened. He said, he gets up and he says, now I understand the verse in the Bible. Nobody should know where Moses was buried. Wouldn't be a nice thing to go to pray at Moses' burial site? He says, but because if it would be a funeral for Moses, we would still standing now and eulogizing him. He says, after he finished this, there was no more eulogies. I was yesterday at a Sheva Boches, and one rabbi spoke, another rabbi, then they offered another rabbi. He says, it's Sheva Boches means 7 blessings. He says 7 blessings were not 7 speeches. Sheva Boches were not 7 droshes. Then Moses, but the real reason why Moses' burial place is not known, because he wanted to remember Moses by his Torah, not by his burial site. Moses is alive. The message is that Moses, we don't know where his burial site, because Moses is alive. We learn Moses, we live with Moses, we know about Moses more than we know about our own great-grandparents.
We have a spark of Moses too.
And we have a spark of Moses, absolutely. That's why we don't know where Moses is buried.
When it says till this very day, we don't know.
Yeah,
At what point in time is this being written when it says till this very day?
Moses wrote it. Moses
But
wrote
it sounds like a long time afterwards because it says till this
That-
very day we don't know
you're
where he's buried.
Yeah, every day.
There you go. Hayom Hazeh.
Hayom Hazeh, every day. Today, you know? I don't. We don't know until today. When whatever Moses writes is forever. If he wrote you don't know, we will never know.
So is the English translation a good translation there? Because it sounds like
Yeah.
somebody's writing hundreds of years in the future and saying, well, up until now, we still don't know where he's buried.
Yeah, that's why. Ad Hayom Hazeh, until this day, if you want to be literal. And Moshe, want to read number 7?
And Moshe was 120 years old at his death. His appearance was not dulled,
Told.
and his freshness did not fade.
Mm-hmm.
Bnei Yisrael bewailed Moshe on the planet of Moab for 30 days. Plains of Moab for 30 days, after which ended the days of bewailing in Moshe's mourning period.
The Torah says the Bnei Israel mourned Moses. That Rashi points out, the male mourned Moses. When Aaron died, everybody mourned Aaron. The mourning of Aaron was much stronger than the mourning of Moses. Why? That first of all, the Rebbe points out, because Moses was there to mourn him. You know, to mourn somebody, you need somebody who can appreciate them, who can eulogize them, who can say, you know what kind of a great person died there. When Moses died, was nobody to even appreciate it. Was nobody on this stature, on this caliber to say it even. But Rashi says another point. Aaron, because he was a man of peace, and he was making peace with his husband and wife and friend, everybody could relate to him. Moses was a leader, a rabbi, putting down the laws, he gave lectures. Not everybody can relate to him. Therefore, Aaron was mourned more than Moses. What's the lesson to us? Be like Aaron. Moses, so to speak, tells us, be like Aaron. Moses needed to be Moses because he's the leader. But anybody who could should be like Aaron. Be softer, be nicer to people, do everything that you can do. And then the Torah continues. It's important to finish it. And Yeshua, in top of page 457, number 9.
All right. And Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom because Moshe had rested his hands on him. Bnei Israel listened to him and acted as Hashem had commanded Moshe. And there has not ever arisen a prophet within Israel like Moshe, whom Hashem knew face to face. For all the signs and the wonders that Hashem sent him to perform in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his slaves and to his entire land, and for the entire strong hand, and for the entire great display that Moshe performed in view of all of Israel.
The entire strong hand, all the miracles that Moses did, there was never a prophet like Moses. God spoke to him face to face. All the miracles that he did in Egypt, and all the strong hand. What are the strong hand that Moses did in Egypt? Or all miracles that Moses did? What would come to your mind?
The plagues.
Plagues, splitting the sea, giving the Torah. Amazing! Getting water from the rock. Amazing things, right?
Turning the staff to
To a snake. Let's see what Rashi says in the bottom of page 457, number 12. For the entire strong hand, Dr. Kosa, you want to read on the bottom?
For the entire strong hand, he received the Torah in the tablets with his hands.
Yeah, next page.
And for the entire great display that Moshe performed in view of all Yisrael.
Mm-hmm. No, in Rashi.
Oh, okay. The miracles and mighty deeds in the immense, awesome wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
When he took the liberty of shattering the
No,
tablets.
in view of all Israel, when he
In
took
view of all Yisrael, when he took the liberty of shattering the tablets before their eyes, as it is said, I shattered them before your eyes. The Holy One, blessed is he, consented to his opinion, as it is said, which you shattered, more power to you for shattering them.
Okay, look what's going on here.
You hear those words?
What God found Moses, what Rashi says, what are the great deeds that Moses did? Not splitting the sea, not giving the Torah, not getting water from a rock. Breaking the tablets. That's the greatest of Moses. Why? Because why Moses broke the tablets? He came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets. The Jews were making the golden calf. Moses had a split moment of a choice to make. The tablets or the Jews. If he delivered the tablets, in the tablets it's written, do not worship idols, the Jews deserve to die. If he doesn't deliver the tablet, it's not written anywhere.
He doesn't know he's going to get another step.
He smashed the tablets and he saved the Jewish people. Then in the last eulogy, the nicest thing that the Jewish people, that God has to say about Moses, Rashi says, that he broke the tablets and he saved the Jewish people. I think the Medrash puts it, there is a Chabad custom when we dress the Torah, usually we put a belt, right? Some people, the rest of the world puts the belt in the top third, high of the Torah. In Chabad, we put the belt in the bottom third. Why? Because the Jerusalem Talmud says it was when Moses was holding the tablets, God, so to speak, was holding in the top. And it was a fight between Moses and God. Who's going to get it? Moses pulled it out, so to speak, of the hand of God and smashed it. We are putting the belt underneath to say we are on Moses' side. Because by breaking the tablets, first of all, he saved the Jewish people, but he saved them double. What caused the Jewish people to do tshuva? The broken tablets. When they saw the broken tablets, Moses didn't have to say, there is no word in the golden calf. There is not a word that Moses did. Moses didn't gather the Jewish people, give them a lecture, nothing. He smashed the tablets. He didn't have to say anything anymore. When you come and you do something so drastic, words are not needed. He broke the tablet. The biggest compliment to Moses, the best eulogy that Moses got, that he risked his life, he risked his future, he risked his career. Breaking the tablets at yours, at your grandmother's, what is this? What are you breaking the tablets? He was the UPS guy. He should deliver the thing. Don't want, give it back. What is this? At your who gave it to you? And he never knew he's going to get a second set. He still did it. He risked his life. There is a book, it's called Tanot Ve'Eliyahu. It's a book that, according to the Talmud, Elijah learned with one from the rabbis. He used to come to him and reveal him Torah. In this book, it's written that Elijah tells them there is an argument, who comes first, the Jews or the Torah? Who is first? Is the Torah for the Jews or the Jews for the Torah? And Elijah said, the prophet says, and I say, Elijah says, the Jews come first. Because if not for the Jews, who will observe the Torah? And the Rebbe spoke about this Rashi once on Simchas Torah. And he said that this is the biggest display of the importance and the love for the Jewish people. That's the greatest thing about Moses.